Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about a Pollen. This is designed by Reiner Knizia. It has artwork by Beth Sobel, and it is published by AllPlay Games.
That's like an all-star cast.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically we are in charge of this flower patch. We are all individual colors of flowers, and we are trying to attract the most amount of bugs to us. Bugs are pollinators, and we like pollen as flowers, right?
Yeah, not as humans.
No, that makes us sneeze. But it is springtime. The flowers are blooming, or at least they're starting to. Alright, let me give you a quick overview of how to play. Alright, here's our setup for Pollen. We've got 3 different piles. These are different insect meeples that we're going to be trying to attract to our flowers, trying to gain those throughout the game. We also have our bag over here full of tokens. We always have whatever the next token that's going to be coming out. We pull one out of the bag so we always have a little bit of foreknowledge. And every player is also going to get a deck of flower cards. You're going to shuffle it up at the beginning of the game, and then you're going to draw a hand of 5 cards. Their cards are going to look something like this. They're going to have the cutouts where 4 different tokens are going to be able to go, and they have some kind of insect type as well as a quantity. So this has 4 bees around it. This one has 4 of those June bugs. We also have stars, which acts as wilds. So what we're going to do is, we're the first player. We are going to start by putting one out there. And there's not yet a spot where there are 2, basically a semicircle created yet. So now, what our opponent's going to do is they're going to put one out there like this. And now a semicircle has been created. When it's their turn, they're going to be able to choose where to put this bug. And also we're going to get one more out of the bag as well. That's going to go out there. And then of course, as always, we're going to have one more out there so we can kind of get a little bit of foreknowledge. Some of them do have multiple bugs on them like that, so you might be able to win multiple bugs with one placement. Eventually there's going to come a point where we have a bug entirely surrounded on all sides. What's going to happen at that point is, we are going to count up, for each bug present on that tile, we're going to count up whoever has the most of that bug surrounding it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 over here, plus we have 1 wild, for a total of 5. They have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. This is probably a bad example because in a situation where there's a tie, nothing gets awarded, simply gets flipped over. But if there had been a clear leader, someone who had the majority of that particular bug, they would take one of the meeples from the supply and add it to their pile. And obviously, as we played our cards over here, more and more of those half circles arrived, so we would be putting more and more tokens out there. In a situation like this, now the bees count towards the bee, but the wilds over here count towards both the bees and the June bug. So that's going to be a really great placement for that green player. There's a chance they might even be able to get both of those meeples that are awarded from that tile. So we're going to keep on playing like that, going back and forth, placing cards down, trying to gather as many of our insect meeples as possible. The game is going to end once an entire pile of insects has been depleted, or the last token from the bag has been placed, or all the cards have been spent, so that way all of our decks have run out. Now the scoring is a little bit weird, so you want to gather as many bugs as possible from as many different kinds of bugs as possible. The way it's going to work is, you want to have a majority in at least one kind of bug. So for instance, you want to have more bumblebees than anyone else. If you are able to do that, you are going to be considered for being a victor. If you do not have a majority of any of the kinds of bugs, you are automatically out of the running. If you do not have a majority of any of the kinds of insects, you are out of the running. You would no longer have a chance to win. If you happen to have a majority in 2 different kinds of insects, let's say you have the most amount of June bugs and the most amount of bumblebees, you automatically win right then and there. But if that does not happen, what happens is, all players who had at least one majority in one category, they move on to the next phase of the scoring, which means they're going to count up all of the other insects they had, besides the one they had the majority in. So going back to our example, if we had the most amount of bumblebees, that means we're eligible to be going to the scoring phase. Now we'll count up all of our butterflies and June bugs, and that's going to be our final score. So if we had the majority of bumblebees, but we had 2 June bugs and 4 of the butterflies, our score would be 6. The scoring gets a little wonky, so let me say that one more time. If you have at least one category that you have the majority in, you are eligible to keep on scoring at the end of the game. If you have the majority in 2 categories, you automatically win the game outright. Alright, so out of all the people who were eligible to score, now what you're going to do is, in every other category of bug besides the one that you had a majority in, you're going to add up all of those meeples. Whoever has the most amount of meeples wins the game.
So the artwork is fantastic, especially those like bug tiles, and they're all like shiny and they look really cool. However, I hate June bugs to like a core of who I am.
Like,
So,
when your core fears like unlock.
yes, it really is. I don't know why. I just like, oh. So when we were playing this game, I had to flip all those pieces over so you couldn't see the June bug on the tile.
That's not a universal experience. Feel
No,
free to look at
no.
them yourself.
And then we were playing with one of the times we were playing with our 6-year-old, and she would like sneak and like flip some back over because she knew that it was like freaking me out, and I kept flipping them back. But besides that, it was still really, really cool.
There are these wild symbols that are on your cards. When you play those are going to be usually lower in number than the other kind of normal bug symbols. However, they're able to work for multiple bugs in that same area. So if you have one of those little circle tiles that has all 3 different bugs on it, those wilds are going to count towards all of them. So it kind of ups your chances of being able to get at least something. Maybe you're not going to get all 3 or whatever the case is, but it ups your chances of being able to get something. So I really like how the wilds were... they were stronger and weaker at the same time.
Our 6-year-old was able to play this. We taught it to her, and she picked it up immediately. She understood. She would, like always, our 6-year-old is just starting to develop strategy. She understands rule sets, but she's starting to develop that strategy. It's kind of scary. But she would look at a card, and she would understand what she needed to get the majority of something. And so she would just ask us, what do I need to win this? And she would go through her hand of 5 and be like, okay, I have it. And so, but it was a really simple, easy rule set, and she liked taking the tiles out and placing them. She got it. So it was a good family level game.
I like how you were able to think ahead a little bit. You have your cards in your hand, so you have basically 5 turns worth of cards in your hand that you're going to be thinking ahead towards. Not only that, you also have whatever the bug token that's going to be coming out next is face up in front of you.
Yeah.
And then when that gets placed, you pull another one out of the bag, so you always kind of have a little bit of future knowledge. So you kind of set yourself up to have a great future turn. There are situations where when you place a tile or place a card, multiple spots get opened up and multiple tokens come out. But you only get to choose where one of them comes out, and then the next player gets, and the next player, might put more out there. But I do like how you have a little bit of that control. You can kind of push the direction of of where things are going to be placed. I think that's a great way to kind of set yourself up, and other people might swoop in and undercut you, but at least you get to set it up.
I do feel like you can get kind of pigeonholed in this game. It was funny, I was mentioning our 6-year-old earlier, but she understood this. In the beginning of the game, she kind of grouped all of her stuff together with her stuff, whereas Ryan and I were intermingled a lot, and she realized towards the end of the game that it was almost pointless for her to place where we are, because she would never be able to win any of that. And so I do feel like if you don't mix in the beginning of the game with your colors, it's going to be more difficult. I don't think that would happen at a 4-player game like it did at a 2-player game or a 3-player game. But it was just interesting that she noticed that towards the end of the game. Like, well, it doesn't matter what I do because I don't have enough to compete with what you guys are doing over there, but I also can't get everything I need in order to win over here. So you can get pigeonholed. So just in the beginning, make sure that you branch out a little bit. Overall, I thought this was really fun. I keep mentioning our 6-year-old. She said great things. When we were playing this, after about, I don't know, a third of the way into the game, she goes, this game is like Gentle Rain, but for adults. That's a game that she just absolutely loves.
And similar pieces, similar flowers, similar cutout tiles, and all that stuff is very
good. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I don't know if it's going to stay in our collection, though. I feel like there's other things that kind of get the itch for me that this game is trying to itch. I already have stuff that fill that out.
I think this game is charming. It looks fantastic on the table. I mentioned earlier, this is an all-star cast. I mean, you have between Knizia and Beth Sobel and AllPlay. I mean, this is it's perfect mix. I think the scoring is a little bit wonky, right? I mentioned that during when I was teaching us how to play, but it's a little bit wonky in that you have to win at least one category of bugs to even be considered to be able to win. You can win outright if you're the winner in 2 different categories. But even if you do win one category, it's not that category that matters. It's everything else that matters. So you want to kind of be in a situation where you have just a lot of bugs. The more bugs you have, the better, ultimately.
Even June bugs.
Even June bugs. So I think it's one of those situations where it is a little bit weird, and it's a little bit goofy trying to teach that, but at the same time, I like that they kind of did something different. I like that the scoring is not just your typical 1 point per bug, or whoever has the most gets a bonus of 1, or something like that. You know, it's weird, but it's different, and I kind of dig that.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.